Game 7, season on the line, and the Clippers, they're going to clip. Fallen to pieces. Look pretty pathetic out there on the floor against the Denver Nuggets, completely tapped out in the second half of that game. Now, does that mean the Clippers, with Kawhi, with James Harden, are officially cooked? I'm Trevor Lane. This is the Basketball Bulletin. Make sure you subscribe right here to the channel. Joining me is the much shorter Donnie Freeman. Donnie, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How about you?
He's getting up higher.
He's doing good. Doing good. I just gotta remind you, man. It's Bulletin, man. You can't say the Clippers are gonna clip. You can't say that.
Why not?
That's not okay.
It's still true. It's still true.
You say with all the Lakers stuff behind you. It's not.
I do. But still. You know what, though? I'm really disappointed in the way that Game 7 went.
Yeah.
And I thought this was going to be... I was begging for a Game 7 in this series because it was such a great series. The Clippers and the Denver Nuggets, such a close series. And then Game 7 wound up being a total and complete dud. The Clippers get absolutely crushed, blown out in the second half. And they didn't even really put up a fight. 120-101 is the final score. They lost the third 35-19. They lose the fourth, or they win the fourth, but 35-27, too little, too late at that point. But it really felt like they tapped out and they said, you know what? We want to go home. We're done. We want to go home. They acted like they had a 3-1 series lead again and said, that's it. It's over. We just want to call it a day. And that was certainly disappointing. I didn't want to see that. I wanted to see a close competitive game. I don't have a lot of love for either team, so I wasn't too worried about who was going to win. I wanted to see a close game, and we didn't get that. And I think now there's a lot of questions about what the future of this Clippers team is going to look like.
Yeah, I agree with you. You know, really quick, I thought it was ironic that Ballmer flew in 120 Clipper fans to form the wall in Denver. And wouldn't you know it, they lost to a team scoring 120 points. That's peak fiction right there. It had to be on purpose. Like that's
poetic justice.
That's insane.
That's poetic justice right there. In fact, here they are. Here are the Clippers fans.
They flew all the way there.
They flew all the way there in order to watch the Clippers get absolutely annihilated. I mean, look, give them credit for traveling, give them credit for supporting their team. This was the wall that was in Denver, ready to go and make a lot of noise for the Clippers, but that Clippers team didn't give them a lot of noise to make, or a lot to make noise about. Donnie, did you know, by the way, this is a little known fact. Did you know that is actually every Clipper fan in existence?
Stop, right there. Trevor.
They got them all on the plane. The reason why they had to only use one plane, they got them all. There's just not that many of them. There's not that many of them.
Stop it. I don't condone this, okay? I don't condone this. No. You can't do them like that. But no, in all seriousness, yeah, I thought they were going to come out and compete harder. Unfortunately, I guess they got some old demons re-arose from a previous 7-game series against Denver.
Yeah,
I don't know. That was the last time that these teams have faced off, I believe. And
what did they do then? What did they do in that series?
Stop.
What was it?
They lost. Okay, they lost.
But how? I don't remember what happened.
They showed up similarly to the way they did in this game, where it looked like they didn't want to be there.
Wouldn't they? Oh, they had a 3-1 series lead.
Doc can tell you something about that. Right. He's still doing it, isn't he?
Right. That's right. Doc can still do that. No, you know what? Again, this one actually provided me no joy.
I thought this was a great series.
Yeah, I enjoyed the series. I really did love this series. I was really looking forward to Game 7 and was truly disappointed that it didn't wind up being better. But now this lends to a lot of real questions about this team and whether or not this is it. Are they just done? I mean, I thought they got what they were waiting for. They got a healthy Kawhi Leonard, and it looked like, Donnie, Kawhi was back. You went, oh, this is it, man. And he was great. And you got the best version of Ivica Zubac we've ever seen. He had an amazing season. James Harden, for a little while there, he looked like, okay, the playoff demons are exercised. Maybe not something James Harden does a lot, but it looks like James Harden was ready to right the wrongs of the past, and it did not go their way. So if you've got all those things working for you, you bounced back from losing Paul George, and it still resulted in another. This is now 3 straight first round exits in the Western Conference. Is it time to just blow this thing up? Like, is this proof that the Kawhi Leonard era is a failure?
Well, I mean, personally, I would think that the Kawhi Leonard era would only really be a success if they were perennially like in the Western Conference Finals, at least the semis, maybe walk away with the championship. But yeah, I don't think it's been a success regardless. He's just missed, specifically, he's missed too much time. They haven't really reaped the benefits of it. They went 5 years between healthy Kawhi appearances from the last Denver series to this one.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, we're not able to really get things done. So, yeah, I would say that I think it's been a failure overall. He's just, like I said, he's missed a lot of time. It's not to blame on him or the team or whatever. I'm sure there's a bunch of different caveats you can throw either way. But the reality is I don't think this was a successful tenure.
No, I don't think so as well. Now, let's say they made a miracle run this year and they won the whole thing. That's it. Then you would just say that there it is. It's a success. Yeah. Doesn't matter what anybody else says now. You won a championship. That's it. It's a success, but it's just not been, even with Kawhi, with Paul George, Pat Bev standing on tables in Vegas proclaiming the next 5 years were his and all that. Like, it never worked. And some of it is injury related. Some of it's injury related. But the question now becomes, what do the Clippers do from here, and what do they do with James Harden? I mean, a brutal game 7. He's a career playoff faller. We look at this. James Harden, 173 games in his playoff career, 26 games in 173 with more turnovers than made field goals. Like, what the hell? Like, that's an insane stat. That's insane right there. 35 games with 3 or less made field goals, 55 games with 4 or less made field goals. And you look at his career game 7 numbers, what he's done in game 7 specifically over the course of his career. You go, oh, okay, 19 points. That's not so bad, right? When you look at his total scoring, we take a look. We got 19 points per game, 19.3. All right, not bad. 5.7 rebounds. All right, not bad. 8 assists. Hey, that's pretty good. 2.6 steals in game 7s. That's pretty good. 1.3 blocks. Like, he's doing some stuff. Oh, wait. 35.5% from the field. From 3, 22.4%. Yikes. 4 turnovers. He's known for struggling.
He's choking. Holy crap.
Yeah, for choking in the playoffs. So what do we do with James Harden here? I was optimistic. I thought he was playing much better basketball. And then a flop of a game 7. Again, not the right term for Harden, but when we look at James Harden and what he actually did in game 7, he was getting doubled a lot. And so I do want to give him that little bit of credit. People say, oh, he only took 8 shots. Yeah, he was getting doubled a lot. I thought the Nuggets were very smart in the way they were doing it. They were doing it especially late in the clock when Harden wasn't going to have a lot of time to throw a pass and for anybody else to get a good look. They were very smart with the way they did it. But 8 shots for James Harden. Norman Powell outshot him, right? Bogdan Bogdanovic had more shot attempts than James Harden. Zubats, Derrick Jones Jr., more shot attempts than James Harden. That can't happen in a game 7. Is this again? We talk about, are the Clippers just cooked? Was this James Harden's last shot to disprove the narrative that he comes up short in the playoffs?
Well, I didn't think they were going to win it either way. And yeah, sure, context can be applied. Like, I thought Harden did a great job of moving the ball. 13 assists to 2 turnovers. We'll take that. Like, that's sure. Great. And the thing is that the Clippers offense is largely predicated on what James can create for them. They don't have a ton of ball creation on this team aside from James. Sometimes they put the ball in Kawhi's hands, but that's mostly it, right? So if he's not humming and able to create these opportunities and advantages, some of the other guys are going to struggle. But I don't know, aside from just more aggressive shot taking and making, I don't know what more you could have really hoped to get from him. But I don't think that he was going to make a deep run anyway. I don't know if this would have really changed much in the grand scheme of things overall for Harden specifically. I just think that if Harden is your best perimeter player, your perimeter playmaker on your team, then your ceiling just isn't all that high. I think that's just you need something else there, unless he can be that. And if you've got, two other guys like as good as Kawhi on this team, right? But with the way that this is now, Harden being your second best player is my point. I don't think your ceiling is high.
And that's going to be the challenge now, because you've got healthy Kawhi, you've got healthy Harden. He had a couple of really good games in the series, but it still wasn't enough to get you over the hump. So what do you do now moving forward if you're the Clippers? And are you just stuck with this team where you could say, well, they're good, but they're not good enough? I mean, you look at where they're at. You've got Zoo. He's got a really nice contract, and I think teams would be interested in Ivica Zubac, but they're not going to move him. They're not going to move on from him.
That's a good number for Powell too. 20 million. I think that's a good number.
Yeah, Norman Powell has a good number as well. We take a look at
man, that prorated Ben Simmons number is hilarious. He's like missing a digit.
Right? Right? That's what it is there. It's the prorated number on Ben Simmons.
That's crazy. I like some of these guys, but some of these guys you could just do without, right? Like, I don't know. I thought they rebounded really well after losing Paul George and filled that salary, well for the team. Found some guys that helped on the perimeter in the margins, and I thought they came up with a more successful season than I would have predicted. But I think that they may be in a position where they need to blow this up, but probably can't really do so until they move off of Kawhi also. And I wonder if the Clippers are okay just being competitive. Like, are they okay just being competitive?
Like, so Kawhi's got 2 more years under contract. He's extension eligible next summer. You're probably not giving him that extension unless
you can't give him a $50 million extension. You just can't, man.
Could they trade Kawhi? Would teams have interest in Kawhi, especially if it's a team that's already pretty set and can say, you know what, you can play 40 games during the regular season. All we care about is that you're healthy for the playoffs. Yeah. Could you do that?
Yeah, it's similar to the PG discussion, and I'll kind of rope these two together. You know how I talked about with PG. I think PG is going to have one of the worst contracts in the league towards the end of that and all that stuff. But the thing is that Kawhi's floor is so much higher than Paul's floor. It's not even close. And so I can see a team trading for or acquiring a mid-30s Kawhi and saying, hey, don't worry about anything. We'll see you when we see you. Just be ready for the playoffs. Play 30 games in the season, 40 games. We'll see you in the playoffs. Just be healthy for us then. That's all that matters. Take all the time you need and going from there, because I would project Kawhi mid-30s a few years from now, I guess, to still be an extremely high-level athlete out there.
Now, the Clippers have done that in the past with Kawhi. They've they've been the poster boys for load management, right? Much to the dismay of the NBA. But Kawhi still has not been able to stay healthy. But I do think if they weren't worried about recouping a huge return for Kawhi, they could probably find a team that would take him. James Harden, I don't think he's got much of a market out there. Let's put it this way. The Nets are the team with money in free agency right now. I don't think the Nets are gonna bring in James Harden.
They want him back.
I would imagine he's going to pick up that player option or sign a new deal with the Clippers, 36 million there. But then they do have move. I mean, if they're willing to move Zubac, that I would be shocked if they would, but teams would absolutely be interested in him. Bogdanovich has a team option after next year, so that helps. He's a $16 million expiring. Derek Jones Jr., everybody's looking for help on the wings. He's movable. Chris Dunn, $0 guaranteed after next season. So that's really an expiring contract. That's movable. Nick Batum, if you wanted to, $0 guaranteed for next season. For Drew Eubanks, that's somebody that you could pick up part of that and then move him. Batum, again, I think he picks up that player option. They probably keep him. But there's movable salaries here for the Clippers to where they could have a little bit of flexibility there. They also will have the full MLE to use with. You look at they're far enough below the first tier apron to where they can make that kind of a decision there. They can add a $14 million player. There's not a lot out there in free agency. So it's not like they're completely stuck. Like they've got contracts that I think are movable. They've got, they'll have the MLE to use. So they've got some additions they can make to this team. I just don't know if there's anything they can do that's going to put them over the top and make them say, okay, now we're really ready to go, when they just got what they got from Kawhi, from Harden, from Zoo, and that still wasn't enough.
And Powell, Derek Jones.
Yes, yeah.
So a lot of these guys played really good for them all year. And that's good enough for the regular season. I just think they need a star upgrade on this team, I guess. But, maybe I amend my statement on Kawhi from a couple minutes ago, simply because I forgot that Kawhi is dealing with that degenerative tendinopathy in his right knee.
True.
So, I don't know if in a couple years, I think actually, you know what? I'm going to be honest. I think there's a decent chance this is like Kawhi's last contract. Oh. Who's to say he doesn't just hit that last year and say, I'm going to retire?
And he's just done.
Yeah, that may actually be the case with Kawhi. I don't know what you do at that point. Maybe they still try to sell him off on that last year. I don't know. But I wouldn't be surprised. And by the way, on that same topic, Harden's dangerously close to that too. He's extremely close to just calling it. That whole old guard is just, they're all really close.
Even though he's put up the numbers that he did this season, you still think Harden would well, I get Kawhi if his degenerative condition is getting really bad, but Harden too, I know he just wasn't good in the playoffs, but he's producing.
Yeah, he's a good. I like how he's transitioned more into being a point guard, but more so looking at the age of Harden. He's 35, going to be 36. When? Birthday August. So a few months away from being 36. He's got another year on the books. I can see him maybe getting 1 or 2 more years.
He just put up 23, 9, and 6 this season.
Yeah, that one thing I'll say is I think they're all really close, that whole age group in the NBA, but they're all super good statistically still.
I guess the question is, and for some guys, the age cliff comes up fast. Right. Yeah. For some guys, that age cliff, boom, it hits you. If you remember Gary Payton back in the day, Gary Payton was a guy who the age cliff hit him and it was just oh my God, he's just gone. It's not the same player anymore. That could happen to Harden. That could happen.
It's already hit Harden a lot because while he's able to produce well, I think that's more about his ability to adapt. He couldn't go out there and give you the same 35, 36 points per night like he used to. And that's not a knock. It's just he's more of a point guard now than he is the same guy. And even if he got the same free throw attempts, he still couldn't.
I was going to say, the game's officiated a little differently too.
I don't think he could do it. I don't think he could. For a full season, it's because I don't think that first step is the same. I don't think he's able to get by guys the same way either. That's typically where you see it with the guys like Harden. So, yeah, I said all that retirement stuff to say that even if the Clippers retool this roster, I think they need to have an eye towards the future because it's approaching sooner than later that they're not going to be good enough. They're already probably not good enough to get over the mountaintop right now. So whatever decision they make, I think needs to be for the here and now. And I don't know if they have the players, contracts, assets, etc., to get another star level player because with what they have here, I think they could use a star upgrade or at least another 1 or 2 guys on this team that's viable in a playoff rotation, I think. Or maybe they just hope for improved play from guys like Bogdanovich. He didn't have a great year.
Sure.
Maybe that's something that helps tremendously. But I just don't see it with this roster.
I think that is probably the path, right? You take your guys that are expiring contracts. If you can find pieces for the future to turn them into, great. I think this is a situation where not good enough is going to have to be good enough for them, right? Not good enough to win a title is going to have to be good enough for next season. At that point, James Harden, he'll be a free agent unless they work a new deal with him. Kawhi Leonard will only have 1 year left on his deal. That would be very, very movable at that point when he only has a year left. A bunch of these other guys will have dropped off. Bogdanovich, if you haven't moved them already, Bogdanovich, you've got Chris Dunn, he'll have dropped off. Eubanks is already gone. Batum will probably have sailed off into the sunset at that point. And then you're building the team around 28, 29-year-old Zubats. And then whatever pieces you can add. Norman Powell will be gone off your books. And then you've got flexibility moving forward. Now, they have already sacrificed some of their future draft capital, but in a few years, their own picks are still available. Maybe there's an opportunity for them to add a piece by using some of their future picks, 2030, 2031, stuff like that. In addition to their expiring contracts and really make a run next season, that could be something to watch. But if that opportunity doesn't present itself, they could find themselves actually not in a too bad of a spot with a lot of flexibility if they're just patient for one more season and they say, hey, even if we don't have enough, we're going to play it out with this group one more year and then we can truly pivot.
1 year is a long time for this group.
It is. But
and that's asking a lot of Ballmer too. Although I will say, I think that over the last couple of years, he's kind of like definitely pulled back.
And the fact that they were willing to allow Paul George to walk away,
that should tell you a
lot. I think that tells you that they've developed a lot more patience, and I think that it tells you they've adapted to the new collective bargaining agreement. So I don't know. Like I think we could be in store. I don't think the Clippers are toast long term here. I think this is a one more year with this group. If an opportunity to add a piece, fine. If that pops up this summer, great. Go for it, right? Future draft capital, expiring contracts, all that kind of stuff. But that piece needs to be a player in their 20s. You can't add another like mid-30s guy and off you go. Unless, I guess, Donnie, maybe this is the landing spot for Kevin Durant. And they just say, forget it. We're putting Kawhi, KD, and James Harden together. And that's what we're doing, and we don't care about what happens in the future. But
that team could be pretty good. I just worry about how much they'll actually be out there playing, but they could be pretty good.
Exactly. And KD and Harden already did that whole thing in Brooklyn, so I would be surprised. But I do think that you, as long as you are patient for one more year, be opportunistic, of course, there will be a lot of flexibility. There's a light at the end of the tunnel coming here for this Clippers team, and then we'll look to the next era and see whatever it becomes. But for the time being, I think this team continues to be known as the group that disappointed, the group that, particularly the Kawhi era, just did not go where they hoped it would go. And it was frustrating to see the way they tapped out in Game 7. And don't get me wrong, look, Donnie, our Lakers, maybe even more disgusting, tapped out at the beginning of Game 5. Like, don't get me wrong, not trying to throw shade at the Clippers without acknowledging that, hey, the Lakers maybe committed an even worse sin, but still was unfortunate to see that's the way Game 7 played out. And I think it does tell you that may just be it for this group. It may be just the final, they never were quite good enough or had the right mental makeup to get it done.
Agreed. Now, where can I place a bet for the Clippers to win the championship next year?
I would have to imagine when we go to Vegas for Summer League, that would be a good opportunity to do something like that.
Oh, well, maybe somebody's going to get rich. I don't know.
Never know. All right, everybody. Let us know your thoughts on the Clippers, where they go from here. Do they need to blow it up? What do you do now with Kawhi, with James Harden? You just got everything you could have asked for, and it still wasn't enough to get out of the first round. So what do they do? Give us your thoughts in the comment section. Make sure you subscribe right here to the channel. Till next time, see ya and stay safe.